My name is Georgia A. Bryce, and I'm a son of God. I'm here to represent my father's business. His brand is called Building According to Pattern, and I'm the manager. And it is an organization that is geared towards empowering others to discover their own unique design, your purpose, and to go after it with everything that's inside of you. But in addition to you discovering your own unique design, I am also concerned about you making sure that in the process of building your life, building your dream, you're building it on the basis of the principles of the kingdom of God. Because that's the only thing that's going to guarantee you true success. And these ladies here have alluded to that since we started. I work as an environmental engineer. I'm currently in school at Nova Southeastern doing a second graduate degree in marriage and family therapy. I know it has nothing to do with environmental engineering, but I'm now stepping into my purpose. Okay. I brought a gift for you ladies and you gentlemen today. It's an apple. How many of you like apple? Yes. I love apple. So this is my gift for you today. So in addition to me giving you this gift, what I want you to do is to do something with this gift that I'm presenting to you. I want you to take a minute to just use your imagination coupled with this apple and tell me what is it that you could come up with. If I gave you this gift, this is the only thing you had access to, what would you do with it? No, there aren't any wrong answers, so whatever comes to your mind, that's fine. So I'm going to give you a minute. If you could come up with 3 things, the first 3 things that come to your mind, I want you to, at some point in time, I'm going to ask you what those 3 things are. I have on the screen the word assessing your paradigm. How many of you ever heard the word paradigm? What's a paradigm? Now, let me give you my caveat. I teach, so, I got to have interaction. But the word paradigm refers to your thought pattern, the way you think. So I want to take this time to assess your thought pattern. I'm giving you an apple, and I want you to use your imagination. Now let me say first and foremost that there is a little bit of a dilemma for me here. The dilemma is this. Only 50 to 75% of you are going to walk away gaining something from this presentation. 25% of you, unfortunately, what I have to say is just going to go over your head. And that's just in any given setting. But of the 50 to 75% of you that will hear what I have to say, only 25% of you are going to take action with something that you're going to receive today, and you're going to work hard enough and long enough to produce some kind of result. So the challenge that you're presenting to me, or any audience that is going to present to me, is I have to work real hard to change the way you think. The challenge it is for you is that you have to be ready and you have to be open to change. So how many of you already are open to change? Good. Now, I want to hear from you. Throw it out at random. What came to your mind when I presented you this gift today?
Food.
Food? Okay, what else? Yes? Adam and Eve, okay. Apple pie. I'm hearing a lot of food going on here. What else? Choice, okay. A garden. Oh, girl, I like you. Now, all the responses that you could possibly give are going to fall into one of 2 categories. You're going to have a tangible response, or you're going to present something that's intangible. So when everybody called out food, food is tangible. It's something that you could see, right? It is real. You could touch it. You could taste it. It has form and it has shape, correct? Now, intangible is that it's not something that you could see right away. It's not definite. It's not clear. It's kind of vague, because it has no physical presence. So something that we could consider being intangible is the air that you breathe. Can you see air? Can you see oxygen? No, you can't. It's intangible, but you could breathe it. And the moment you stop breathing, what's going to happen to you? You're dead. Okay. Now I want you to think just a little bit that what I have in my hand is not just food, for all the food lovers. Sorry. This apple that I'm holding in my hand has so much more significance than just food. than just apple pie, than just apple juice, than just apple puree. The fruit that I'm holding in my hand houses what's called seeds, right? How many of you had an apple and you open it up and you saw some seeds? Okay. Now, whether you believe it or not, the most important component of the fruit is not the flesh that you're eating. It's the seed that's trapped on the inside of this apple. And the reason why it's something that you don't pay too much attention to is because it's of no value to you, right? When you cut the apple and you're ready to eat the apple, who cares about the apple seed? Who really cares about apple seeds here? Be honest. Any of you care about apple seed? In fact, seeds oftentimes get in our way, right? You get annoyed when you bite something and you bite the seed. You're like, and most times it doesn't even taste good, right? But the truth is, this one fruit that I'm holding in my hand, she alluded to something. She said, you thought of a garden, right? This one fruit that I hold in my hand, whether you believe it or not, it contains trees. Can you use your imagination? Yes. This fruit contains trees. Why? Because this fruit contains seeds that when you take those seeds and you put them in the soil, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to produce trees that are going to produce what? More fruits that are going to produce seeds that are going to produce more trees. And I could stand here and go on and on and on and on and on, but I'm not going to. But you get the point of what I'm saying. The power of the fruit. This fruit encapsulates seeds. And inside of the seed is what we refer to as the purpose for the plant. So when you look at this apple fruit, it's not just a fruit or just an apple. There is purpose that's locked into this fruit. There is potential that's locked into this fruit, because when you take the seed from this apple, you might not see the tree. We can't visually see the tree because it's intangible. But when you take that seed and you put it in the soil, what's going to happen? It's going to produce apple trees. At the end of the day, what is contained in this fruit is this apple's destiny. It's locked up on the inside of this fruit in its seed. So here we have an apple orchard. We have our fruit, right? Everybody could agree? What is going to happen is that my fruit, when I split it open, is going to give me seeds, right? And if I take those seeds and I put them in the soil, it's going to produce trees. And eventually my trees are going to spread and become more and more and more until I get an orchard. So when you look at this apple, you're not just looking at a single entity. You're looking at purpose locked up on the inside of this thing. So when you leave, you will remember something about the apple today that is not just for food. It's for future. The destiny of that apple is locked up inside the apple. The apple has something to say to you. It's speaking. Can you hear it? This apple is saying to you, I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I know that locked up on the inside of me is purpose, potential to produce more trees that are going to produce an orchard. That tree, that single tree from those seeds are going to produce an orchard that's going to produce more fruits, and the cycle continues. I know who I am. I know why I'm here, and I will do everything I'm supposed to do when I'm placed in the right environment. That's what the apple is saying. Now the apple has a question for you. Who are you? I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I do it. But who are you really? Do you know? The apple is asking, do you know what is the original purpose for your life? Because we could take this apple and do several things with it. We could make apple pie. We could make apple bread. We could make apple juice. But that's not the purpose for the apple. So it's asking the question, what is your original purpose? Because sometimes you're doing everything else except what you were put here to do. Do you know what you're capable of accomplishing? The apple knows it's capable of producing an orchard. Do you know the gifts that are locked up on the inside of you? The apple knows because it produces an orchard. The apple is asking the question, have you seriously given thought to your future and to your destiny? Have you thought of where you're going to be in the next 5 years? The next 10 years, the next 15, 20, 25, 30 years? If you're still on this planet, what are you going to do with your life? The apple knows what it does. It produces more apples, which produce trees, which produce seeds, which eventually produce an orchard. What are you doing? Most critically, do you know your source? The source of your resources, and are you connected to him? This apple is connected to a tree that is planted in the soil. What do you think is going to happen if we uproot the apple tree? What happens to the apple tree if I take it out of the soil? It dies. So if the apple wants to produce a destiny or a future, what does it have to do? Stay connected to the soil. If you want to produce your future and your destiny, you have to find your source and you have to stay connected to it. The principle works for plants, it works for animals, it works for human beings. You got to stay connected to your source. Now, in your manual for living, and anybody has any idea when I say your manual for living, what I'm referring to? The Bible. Now, I do a weekly podcast, and I talk a lot about your manual for living, and I try to explain to people that when you talk about the Bible and you look at it from a religious perspective, you'll never read it, because most of the time you really don't understand what it's saying anyway. But when you think of it as a manual, you know what a manual is? Have you ever bought a piece of electronic item like a computer or a video recorder or whatever it is? It comes with a manual, right? Now, what's the purpose of the manual? The manual is to guide you in the usage of the item. The manual is there that if you have to troubleshoot, something goes wrong, there's a section in the manual that you could read that will tell you what is it you need to do, correct? If you follow the instructions in the manual, the item is going to function exactly as it was designed to function. So, your manual for living clearly details who you are, if you didn't know, and why you were born. You were created in the master designer's or manufacturer's image to be godlike and to reflect his nature. You're not just any and anybody. You're not just any and anything. You were created in the image and the likeness of God to be just like God. Have you ever thought about who God is? Powerful, creative, intelligent, smart, articulate. That's who you are. And if you've never thought of yourself that way, then it means that you need to re-image yourself. You got to recalibrate your image. When you stand in front of a mirror and your dress is out of order, what do? What's the purpose of the mirror? To fix yourself. So that mirror is giving you a reflection or an image of who you are, right? So you could correct yourself. So when you come into the presence of your source, if you're out of order, your source is, you are the mirror image of your source, and your responsibility is to fix those things that are out of order so that you are a direct reflection of your source. Everybody's understanding me? Good, good. Your manual for living clearly details who you are, why you were born, and that you were blessed by him to prosper, reproduce, fill the earth, take charge, or have dominion. And I like the word dominion. There are two words that I want to bring to your mind. The word bless. The Hebrew terminology for the word bless is called barak. And it means to activate the capacity of something to prosper or to succeed. To invoke abundance, the ability to produce something. So when Ariane had her models come up here and model her stuff, that was something that came out of your spirit. It came out of the imagination. The imagination of your spirit, right? You weren't just born with that. You weren't just born and your model just showed up and they had it. You had to produce that out of something that we couldn't see, but then you manifested it in the natural. Fair? Okay, so you were given that capacity to do that. You are also given what we call dominion. Rada means to dominate. It means to rule. It means to take over. It means to reign. Or it also means to be the best at something. The most important in an era of gifting. Everybody who is sitting in here under the sound of my voice has an era of gifting. I can't sing. I like to try, but I can't sing. My era of gifting is that I talk a lot. I love to talk, and so I try my best to dominate in that area. You have gifts that God has put on the inside of you that you need to find out what they are, you need to cultivate them, and you need to dominate in that area, like Arian did, and like what Arian is going to do, because I expect in the next 5 years or less, Arian is going to go international. Yes. Dominate, that's what it means, right? You came to earth to fulfill a purpose. That's your dominion mandate. Everybody sitting here has a purpose that they were put on the earth to fulfill. If you didn't know what purpose is, purpose means the reason for your existence. What's the purpose for the chair? To sit on it. What's the purpose for food? To eat it. What's the purpose for shoes? What's the purpose for the shoelace? What happens if you don't have the shoelace? It's going to fall off. So everything that you could imagine in your mind serves a purpose. Purpose forms the trajectory to your destiny. When I talk about trajectory, I mean it's something that's going to launch you bullseye to where you're supposed to go. So if you find yourself doing willy-nilly, you're going left, right, back, front, you have no clue what you're supposed to be doing, it's because you haven't discovered your purpose yet. But there is help. Your purpose is what's going to enable you to dominate in an area. Is Ariane trying to dominate in singing? Is she trying to dominate in writing books? What is she dominating in? Fashion. Because that's her purpose. Like seeds inside the apple, you came fully loaded with potential. Your potential refers to your inherent gifts, your abilities, your passions, your propensity, whatever it is that you're passionate about, that you can't sleep, you can't rest, you're just constantly thinking about it. That's the thing that you were called to do. And if you try to do anything that is not consistent with your purpose, you're going to be as miserable as a bat. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. If you don't spend your life, or the rest of your life, because we've probably lived out a good portion already, pursuing your purpose, your life is meaningless. It doesn't matter how much you achieve. It doesn't matter how much money you have, fame, success, fortune. If you're not pursuing your purpose, you're wasting time. Dominion activation. Activate your dominion mandate by, first of all, I just said it, discover your own unique design. Your responsibility is to find out what it is that you were put on the earth to do. You need to find out the real you. You know, some people walk around being fake. They look like something, but they're not. Yeah. You have to find out the real you. Now, the problem with that is this. Independent of God, you have no clue who you are. I don't care how much you try. I don't care how much you try different things here and try different things there. If you don't get reconnected to your source, independent of Him, you're running on fumes. Do you want to go on I-95 with no gas in your car? Your gauge is on E, but your car is still running. What do you think is going to happen over time? It's going to stop. You activate your dominion by planting or immersing yourself in the right environment. And when I talk about environment, I mean you need to get into the manual for living. That's where it starts. The instructions for your life are detailed in there. Don't go ask people for your purpose. You got to go back to your source, and your source has provided you the manual in which everything is detailed for what you need to do, where you need to go, and how you need to get there. You could ask others, but it is wise to ask people who are able to guide you in that direction because they're practicing it for themselves. Deliberately select the places, the peoples, the activities, everything that you're going to get involved in. You got to think, my mentor says this, a true leader lives a very narrow life. You're very selective in who you deal with. You're very selective in the people that you hang out with, the crowd that you get with, the places you go, the things that you undertake. You could even undertake a good thing, but it has nothing to do with your purpose. And if it has nothing to do with your purpose, you're wasting time. Get knowledge. The only way you're going to activate your dominion mandate in the earth is to get knowledge, get information. How many of you like to read? If you don't like to read, you're going to have problems. The people who read are the people who lead. They will forever remain your boss. They'll tell you what you need to do. But when you read, you obtain knowledge, and knowledge puts you at the top. Who likes listening to messages? Who likes going on YouTube? Who likes YouTube? Do you go on YouTube? What do you go on YouTube for? Entertainment. I'd say, okay, nothing's wrong with getting entertained, but go check out some of those messages online. When I started YouTube, listening to YouTube, I went for entertainment, but then I started coming across these messages, and no, when I go on YouTube, I'm going there to go get some revelation. Okay. Attend conferences. This is like a mini conference. Thank you, Kim. Join associations. If you want to dominate in the area of your gifting, you got to get exposed to information. I'm sure Ariane goes to fashion shows and probably attend conferences where fashionistas, people who are leading in the field, they have information that they're able to share with them. She gets that stuff, she plugs it in, and she does something. And she begins to produce more. To activate your dominion, one of the most critical things you're going to have to do is learn to cultivate. I was going to put the word right relationships, but then I changed that. You need to cultivate accurate relationships. And when I talk about accurate relationships, I'm talking about the kind of relationships that is going to launch you bullseye to where you need to go. You need to find the right mentors. You know what a mentor is? You need to locate your teachers. You need to locate your supporters. This man here is Dr. Miles Monroe. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of him, but that's my mentor. I'm submitted to him. Pastor Pepe and Pastor Angela, they're my teachers. They're my spiritual covering. They're my pastors. They're my spiritual parents. I am submitted to them. But this is Corinne Bruno. I met Corinne last year. Ariane talked about the group, the Icon group. I met her. She's the founder of it. When I met Corinne, I said to Corinne, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I kind of have an idea what I want to do in my life, but I'm not too sure. And she said to me, you already have everything you need. And it's not even been a year since I met her, and things started coming together in my life and taking off, and she's one of my biggest supporters. You need to find the right people for the right relationships. The apple has one last question to ask you. Are you ready to do this? Are you ready to go discover who you are, find out what your purpose is, and begin to dominate in that area? Well, are you? Are you ready? I'm actually asking a question. Yes. All right. If you're ready and you're really serious about this thing, if this little conference that we have here is not just a Saturday evening thing, you just feel the need to come hang out with some women and a few testosterone walking around in this room. If you're really serious about this thing, you're going to have to change. If you want to dominate in your area of gifting, it's going to take hard work. If you want to find out what your purpose is, it's not hard, but it's also hard because it's going to take time, spending time in the presence of your manufacturer, asking him questions. And the moment you show that you're interested, he's going to back you all the way. This is what he says to you. Your dominion mandate is this. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. So in a few years from now, I should see everybody here having found their giftings and their callings, and they're working in that arena. Okay? And that's it.